profitable instant money-making businesses to start right now with R500. Friends, let's stop lying to ourselves. We've been waiting for over 30 years for the ANC and their so-called better life for all. But instead of better, South Africa is poorer, more violent, and more hopeless than it was before. Electricity is unreliable. Children drown in pit toilets. Millions of young people sit with degrees and no income. And while we suffer, the leaders chant slogans. Instead of solutions, we get endless slogans, racial hatred, promises of land, blaming white monopoly capital for everything. They tell us the reason you're unemployed is because whites stole everything. They tell us we are enslaved by an invisible force. They tell us land will solve it all, even if you have no seeds, no borehole, no fence, and no plan. They shout, "You, kill the boer, take the land, down with capitalism." But what do they never shout? Let's start small businesses. Let's teach young people to trade, to build, to create. Why? Because if you stop being angry and start being productive, you won't need them. The biggest lie: blame everything except yourself. The truth is, white monopoly capital didn't stop you from selling Vetcoek. It didn't stop you from starting a laundry service. It didn't stop you from reselling phone chargers or thrift clothes or starting a digital hustle with your smartphone. You stopped yourself because it's easier to blame the past than face your present. It's easier to say, "I'm oppressed," than say, "I'm lazy." It's easier to fight imaginary enemies than to wake up at 5 a.m. and start trading. So now what? You've waited long enough. The slogans won't feed you. The land chants won't build your future. The race blame will keep you bitter, not better. You don't need the government. You need R500, your hands, your head, and a decision. In this guide, we are bringing you real, proven, instant business ideas that work now. Ideas you can start today. Ideas that don't care about your race, your language, your background, or your past. All they care about is action. Forget pride. Build something. You'll never go hungry if you learn to sell something, solve something, start something. This is your wake-up call. The slogans enslaved you. The hustle will free you. Let's begin.
Black South Africans have been told to wait. Wait for housing. Wait for jobs. Wait for economic justice. Wait for a better life for all. But the waiting has only bred disillusionment, dependence, and decay. The People's Prosperity Code is the end of that waiting. It is a call to action, not through protest, but through creation, not through promises, but through personal innovation, not through political salvation, but through entrepreneurial resurrection. Introduce People's Capitalism as an economic model where communities build wealth through grassroots entrepreneurship, mentorship, and ownership, not handouts or elite-driven policies. Not a desperate youth hustling for bread, but a logistics innovator who built a township delivery economy with zero resources and maximum trust. His model is replicable, scalable, and already making community life smoother. Says we didn't suffer. Says we solved. He's not a victim. He's a visionary. Tabo, the Tire King. Not a man stuck in a pothole economy, but a pioneer who turned South Africa's crumbling infrastructure into a goldmine of opportunity. The story proves that skills transfer across races creates wealth, not slogans. Tabo isn't proof that the poor are stuck. He's proof that a nation can rise on rubber, trust, and mentorship. Andrew, the tire furniture maker, not a recycler out of desperation, but an industrial designer without formal education. His yard is a manufacturing plant, not a dumping site. Andrew didn't inherit land. He inherited nothing, but built an economy with what others threw away. Unveil the People's Prosperity Code, a set of practical principles and values designed to help individuals reclaim their agency, build meaningful lives, and create generational impact. At its core, this initiative is about restoring dignity through truth, restoring power through discipline, and restoring hope through action that starts from the inside out. We must teach South Africans that loyalty to a party that has failed morally, economically, and spiritually is not patriotism. It is bondage. Liberation was a chapter, not a religion. The ANC's struggle credentials cannot be a license for perpetual misrule. We are not obligated to remain loyal to a legacy that no longer serves the living. Ubuntu calls for wisdom, not worship. This movement is not a soft reform. It is a spiritual break. a complete reorientation towards self-leadership, economic empowerment, and a rejection of any ideology, foreign or domestic, that keeps South Africans weak, waiting, or wedded to the past. Those who scream, "Take the land," never ask whose, already building without it. People's capitalism is not a cry for help, it's a declaration of independence. These are not the poor. These are the founders of a new economy. They don't need land expropriation. They need us to get out of their way. People's capitalism is a grassroots movement reclaiming capitalism for the common citizen. It is not the capitalism of billionaires, banks, and boardrooms. It is capitalism from below, dignified hustle, entrepreneurial curiosity, micro-innovation, and community-driven progress. This is capitalism stripped of greed and returned to its origin. The individual's instinct to solve problems, serve others, and build. Philosophical foundations. Human dignity through creation, people's capitalism, holds that the highest dignity lies not in receiving handouts, but in creating services, products, systems, and values. Work becomes sacred, not because of wages, but because of what it allows you to express and contribute. The natural economy of the township. In every street vendor, hairdresser, backyard mechanic, and taxi operator is the seed of capitalism. They did not read Adam Smith, but they live his truths daily. This is a native capitalism, rooted in context, culture, and survival, not in theory. Spiritual capitalism. We believe wealth is more than money. It is resilience, networks, trust, creativity, and character. These inner resources are the first capital in people's capitalism, and they belong to everyone. Post-Marx. Clarity Marx got one thing right. Inequality is real, but his prescription to kill initiative through forced equality is wrong. People's capitalism does not aim to flatten humanity, but to raise all boats by opening opportunity, not stifling ambition. Core beliefs ownership over dependency risk, over entitlement imagination, over ideology tinkering, over theory community, over corporatism creativity, over conformity practical expression. Micro business as the engine every spaza. Car wash, online store, home baker, welder, and handyman is part of this movement. They are not small. They are the foundation. We champion micro-entrepreneurship, informal trading, and hustle as noble and transformative. Idea tweaking over innovation. Myths. You don't need a new idea, just a new way. Take what works, twist it slightly, localize it, and do it with style. Uber did not invent taxis. Airbnb did not invent beds. People's capitalism teaches young people, copy with flair, and serve with excellence. Access-based wealth, you don't have to own everything. Just control access. Rent, borrow, lease, share. This is the spirit of bootstrapping. High return, low capital. We teach young capitalists how to start with nothing and grow something. Storytelling as strategy. People's capitalism is driven by narrative. We document and celebrate stories of Black South Africans rising through sweat, creativity, and vision, not through politics. This becomes the new mythos, the new legend, the new gospel. Tech-enabled, human-centered. We teach youth to use AI, mobile apps, and social platforms as tools of trade, but always with the human soul at the center. Tech is the scalpel. People are the surgeons. Our icons are not billionaires. They are builders. We don't idolize Elon Musk. We respect the uncle who started a funeral business with a baccy and a tent. We don't need fancy degrees. We need hustle wisdom passed down, digitized, and scaled. Our motto. We rise by building, not by begging. Wealth is made, not inherited. We are the new capitalists, people's capitalists. Chapter 9. Observing and learning from Indians. Among Africans, there is a well-known saying, an Indian becomes wealthy with just one banana. At first glance, it may sound like a simple proverb, but it carries deep admiration for the Indian, community's entrepreneurial spirit, resilience, and long-term thinking. Across many African townships and inner cities, this saying is spoken with respect, not as sarcasm, but as a reflection of a cultural truth observed over generations. What this saying captures is the essence of starting small, thinking smart, and growing steadily. It tells the story of how a person can buy a few bananas, set up a small table on a street corner, and begin trading. From those modest beginnings, day after day, profit is reinvested. Relationships are built with suppliers and customers, and soon that one banana becomes a fruit stall, a grocery store, then a chain. It is not magic, it is mindset. The Indian community in South Africa and across the continent has shown that wealth does not begin with capital. It begins with attitude. This is a community that understands margins, hustle, and the power of consistency. They buy in bulk, reduce wastage, negotiate hard, and save more than they spend. They work long hours. They involve the whole family. They build brick by brick. There is no shame in starting small, only shame in staying small without effort. In township economies, Indian traders are often the backbone of local commerce. Whether it is a corner shop, a fabric store, a spice wholesaler, or a cell phone dealer, their presence is felt because of this principle. Start now. Start with what you have and grow smartly. Let's slow down and talk about a word that quietly destroys lives: dependency. It sounds harmless. It sounds soft. But it is an invisible chain. Dependency is not just needing help. It is needing help as a way of life. It is when your very being, your decisions, emotions, and future rely on someone else showing up for you. Let me break it down. Dependency is when you can't think for yourself until someone else approves. You delay your plans waiting for support. You feel stuck, not because there are no options, but because you've trained yourself to wait. You blame your stagnation on others, your parents, the government, the past, your ex, colonialism. Dependency is when your power is outsourced. CEC is the belief, conscious or unconscious, that I cannot rise unless someone lifts me. That is not Ubuntu. That is bondage. And the scariest part? Most people who live in dependency don't even know it. Because it's not always about begging. It's more subtle than that. It's when you constantly think, someone owes me. I'm nothing unless others see me. They should have helped me. I would be further if life was fair. That's dependency talking. It has many faces. Emotional dependency, financial dependency, identity dependency, even spiritual dependency, where you believe only a priest, pastor, or prophet has the answers. But here's the truth. Anything you depend on for your sense of worth or direction controls you. And whatever controls you owns you. That's why we're stuck. That's why Ubuntu got corrupted. Because we celebrated dependency. We called it community. We called it humility. We called it culture. But dependency kills initiative. It strangles personal responsibility. It makes strong people wait for permission. It tells the mother not to start the business because the grant hasn't arrived. It tells the young man not to lead because the elders haven't seen him yet. It tells the thinker to stay silent until the room agrees. It tells the poor person to remain in lack because humble beginnings are noble. Nonsense. And here's the brutal twist. The longer you live in dependency, the more you begin to hate the people you depend on. Dependency turns people into victims and victims into blamers. Ubuntu, in its true form, is the opposite of this. It is radical self-reliance. It is saying, even if no one comes, I will build. Even if no one helps, I will find a way. Even if I start alone, I will still start. The future belongs to builders, not beggars. To leaders, not leaners. So today, cut the invisible chain. Look at your life and ask, where have I outsourced my power? Where have I waited instead of worked? Take it back. That's how healing begins. The other extreme, the inflated self and the lie of flash now. Let's swing the spotlight to the other extreme, the pumped up self. If dependency is the silent killer, this is the noisy imposter. You've seen it. The flashy cars, the curated hub, Instagram lives, the branded clothes, the loud declarations of success. On the surface, it looks like self-reliance, but look deeper. It's just another mask. This version of the self is not grounded in peace. It is not centered. It is not fulfilled. It is puffed up, inflated by noise, peer pressure, and insecurity. Dressed in confidence. These are people who look like they've made it. They even feel like they've made it for a moment. But inside, there's disconnection. Why? because they skipped the part where you face yourself, where you build depth, where you wrestle with truth and values. Instead, they built a house of mirrors to reflect what society calls success, and when the applause fades, they're left with anxiety, loneliness, and shame. Because the self they show the world isn't the self they sit with in silence. This isn't Ubuntu either. This is ego dressed in Gucci, afraid of solitude. It's not real power. It's just protection. From judgment, from comparison, from feeling like you're behind. And it leads to a different kind of dependency on validation, on competition, on outshining others to feel worthy. You know what's ironic? Both the needy, dependent self and the inflated, performative self are disconnected from the real self. One hides in excuses, the other hides in excess. But both are running from truth, from discipline, from soul, and that's what peer pressure exploits. You were satisfied. You were at peace. You didn't need much. But then someone pulls up next to you with a louder life, and suddenly you feel poor again. Not because you are, but because you measured your worth using their tape. That's the trap. When you are truly self-led, you don't inflate to impress. You center to serve. You simplify to see clearly. You own what you have and who you are. The car, the suit, the watch, none of those define you. You define you. Ubuntu at its highest form is neither weakness nor performance. It's wholeness. It's waking up and knowing, I don't owe anyone a show. I owe myself a life of meaning. The Indians of South Africa are the personification of business, enterprise, innovation, and entrepreneurship. They drive most of the retail at the bottom of the pyramid. That is the reason we say the Indian in South Africa represents the very heart of South Africa. By that fact, we mean that they serve the masses of the people of South Africa with economical yet quality goods. Over the years, they have developed talent to scout, develop, and innovate, as well as adapt products in such a way that the masses of the poor are able to afford products that are of very high quality, yet very economical. Among Black South Africans, there is a well-known saying, an Indian becomes wealthy with just one banana. At first glance, it may sound like a simple proverb, but it carries deep admiration for the Indian community's entrepreneurial spirit, resilience, and long-term thinking. Across many African townships and inner cities, this saying is spoken, with respect, not as sarcasm, but as a reflection of a cultural truth observed over generations. What this saying captures is the essence of starting small, thinking smart, and growing steadily. It tells the story of how a person can buy a few bananas, set up a small table on a street corner, and begin trading. From those modest beginnings, day after day, profit is reinvested. Relationships are built with suppliers and customers, and soon that one banana becomes a fruit stall, a grocery store, then a chain. It is not magic. It is mindset. The Indian community in South Africa and across the continent has shown that wealth does not begin with capital. It begins with attitude. This is a community that understands margins, hustle, and the power of consistency. They buy in bulk, reduce wastage, negotiate hard, and save more than they spend. They work long hours. They involve the whole family. They build brick by brick. There is no shame in starting small, only shame in staying small without effort. In township economies, Indian traders are often the backbone of local commerce. Whether it is a corner shop, a fabric store, a spice wholesaler, or a cell phone dealer, their presence is felt because of this principle. Start now, start with what you have, and grow smartly. The one banana is a metaphor for vision, the ability to see potential where others see limitation. It is also a testament to discipline, patience, and risk-taking in the face of hardship. For many African youth today, this proverb is more than cultural wisdom. It is a blueprint for economic freedom. As South Africa continues to seek economic transformation, there is much to be learned from this humble saying, not only about Indians, but about what it takes to build a legacy, from one banana to a business empire. One of the most remarkable qualities of the Indian community in South Africa is their deep understanding of local markets and their ability to tailor products and services to suit the needs of everyday people, especially the working class and the poor. This isn't accidental. It's the result of generations of observing, listening, and adapting. Studying the streets, Not just the stats, Indian traders don't rely on formal market research reports. They study human behavior at ground level. They watch what people buy, how much they spend, what time they shop, and what goods move fastest. They understand payday patterns, school terms, and even seasonal preferences. This gives them a streetwise intelligence that allows them to stay relevant and responsive. They are quick to stock affordable alternatives, break bulk into smaller units, and introduce new products that match the income patterns of the township. Economy. Whether it's selling R5 airtime vouchers, small sachets of washing powder, or lay-by plans for school uniforms, they move with the rhythm of the people. Service to the lower class. Without looking down far from being aloof, Indian-owned, businesses are often the most accessible and service-oriented in lower-income areas. Whether in Marabastad in Pretoria, the CBDs of Durban and Johannesburg, or small towns across the country, their shops offer clean environments, longer trading hours, and friendly service, often at prices lower than large retail chains. They cater to migrant workers, pensioners, students, and street vendors, not with pity, but with respect. They offer credit, discounts, loyalty, and trust, built through relationships. This is why they are not just businesses, but pillars of local economies. Marabastad and inner-city economies. Take Marabastad, for example, a historic market district where Indian traders remain the mainstay. While many large retailers avoid inner-city spaces, Indian businesses thrive there. They offer quality textiles, electronics, fashion, furniture, and food at unbeatable prices. Their shops are often intergenerational, with sons and daughters learning from their parents, continuing the family trade with modern upgrades like online ordering and WhatsApp catalogs. The one banana is a metaphor for vision, the ability to see potential where others see limitation. It is also a testament to discipline, patience, and risk-taking in the face of hardship. For many African youth today, this proverb is more than cultural wisdom, it is a blueprint for economic freedom. As South Africa continues to seek economic transformation, there is much to be learned from this humble saying, not only about Indians, but about what it takes to build a legacy, from one banana to a business empire. One of the most remarkable qualities of the Indian community in South Africa is their deep understanding of local markets and their ability to tailor products and services to suit the needs of everyday people, especially the working class and the poor. This isn't accidental. It's the result of generations of observing, listening, and adapting. Studying the streets. Not just the stats, Indian traders don't rely on formal market research reports. They study human behavior at ground level. They watch what people buy, how much they spend, what time they shop, and what goods move fastest. They understand payday patterns, school terms, and even seasonal preferences. This gives them a streetwise intelligence that allows them to stay relevant and responsive. They are quick to stock affordable alternatives, break bulk into smaller units, and introduce new products that match the income patterns of the township. Economy. Whether it's selling R5 airtime vouchers, small sachets of washing powder, or lay-by plans for school uniforms, they move with the rhythm of the people. Service to the lower class. Without looking down far from being aloof, Indian-owned, businesses are often the most accessible and service-oriented in lower-income areas. Whether in Marabastad in Pretoria, the CBDs of Durban and Johannesburg, or small towns across the country, their shops offer clean environments, longer trading hours, and friendly service, often at prices lower than large retail chains. They cater to migrant workers, pensioners, students, and street vendors, not with pity, but with respect. They offer credit, discounts, loyalty, and trust, built through relationships. This is why they are not just businesses, but pillars of local economies. Marabastad and inner-city economies. Take Marabastad, for example, a historic market district where Indian traders remain the mainstay. While many large retailers avoid inner-city spaces, Indian businesses thrive there. They offer quality textiles, electronics, fashion, furniture, and food at unbeatable prices. Their shops are often intergenerational, with sons and daughters learning from their parents, continuing the family trade with modern upgrades like online ordering and WhatsApp catalogs. In the chaos of the inner cities, where others see decline, Indian traders see opportunity. Their ability to maintain order, cleanliness, competitive pricing, and customer service sets them apart. Adapting to new demands. Even in the age of e-commerce and globalization, Indian businesses in South Africa are evolving. They now combine traditional retail with digital platforms, run delivery services, and partner with local influencers. Still, their core principle remains the same: serve the people with respect, affordability, and consistency. The Indian community in South Africa doesn't just do business, they study the soul of the market. They know that people want value, dignity, and reliability. And that is what they offer every day, from the inner city alleys of Marabastad to the crowded avenues of Chatsworth and Laudium. They don't sell luxury, they sell what matters, and they do it better than most. That is why they are not just traders, but trusted community partners. Chapter 10: The Indian Community in South Africa, Living Proof of Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. When the late business thinker C.K. Prahalad introduced the world to the concept of the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid, he challenged a long-held corporate assumption that profitability lies only in serving the wealthy. Prahalad argued that there is untapped economic power in the poor and working classes, and that companies who understand this could transform both their bottom line and society. Long before this concept became academic theory, the Indian community in South Africa had been living it, on the ground, in the streets, and in the markets. Enterprise at the base of society Indian South Africans, many of whom descended from indentured laborers or modest merchants, were born into a system that excluded them. But with limited access to formal financing, they turned to the people around them: the working class, the pensioners, the informal traders, the domestic workers. They did not look up for profit. They looked around. Instead of waiting for government contracts or corporate jobs, they became traders, tailors, barbers, grocers, and pharmacists, serving township economies and rural populations that were often overlooked or considered unbankable. Marabastad, the Wall Street of grassroots entrepreneurship. In the vibrant heart of Pretoria, South Africa, lies Marabastad, a thriving economic hub that serves as the Wall Street of the grassroots economy. Just as Wall Street symbolizes global finance for the elite, Marabastad represents the dynamic, community-driven marketplace that empowers thousands of small-scale traders, innovators, and self-made entrepreneurs. A hub of opportunity and enterprise. Marabastad is more than just a neighborhood. It is a living testament to the ingenuity of local commerce. From sunrise to sunset, the streets buzz with vendors offering fresh produce, fashion, electronics, crafts, and traditional goods. The energy is electric, filled with the sounds of negotiation, the aroma of street food, and the constant flow of buyers and sellers weaving through the lively market lanes. Unlike the towering skyscrapers of Wall Street, Marabastad's trading. Floors are open-air stalls, repurposed containers, and vibrant displays on the pavement. Yet, the same economic forces drive success: supply and demand, opportunity recognition, and entrepreneurial hustle fuel daily transactions worth millions. The people's marketplace. Just as stock traders navigate market trends, Marabastad's entrepreneurs master the art of buying and selling with precision. A vendor specializing in imported sneakers adjusts prices based on demand spikes, while a winter clothing seller thrives when the seasons change. The marketplace operates on agility, trust, and deep community networks, where deals are sealed with handshakes and market news spreads faster than any financial ticker. This is an economy built on relationships, where credit is extended based on reputation, and collective savings groups, Stockvels, act as community banks. Supply chains stretch across borders, linking traders to markets in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and beyond, proving that grassroots commerce is both resilient and globally connected. Strength in community and adaptability. While Marabastad's entrepreneurs face challenges, such as regulatory hurdles and competition from larger retailers, their adaptability is unmatched. They innovate constantly, shifting products, adjusting strategies, and finding new ways to thrive. Unlike formal sectors that rely on rigid structures, Marabastad's economy is fluid, responsive, and driven by the people who know their customers best. This marketplace is not informal. It is self-sustaining, community-powered, and entrepreneurial. At its core, it represents an essential layer of South Africa's economy, where small-scale trade fuels livelihoods, fosters local wealth, and keeps money circulating within communities. The future of inclusive economics Marabastad is a blueprint for how grassroots markets can drive real economic growth. If Wall Street represents corporate finance, Marabastad embodies democratic commerce, where success is earned through hard work, creativity, and the collective strength of traders, policymakers, and investors looking to understand Africa's true economic engine should study Marabastad. It's not just a market, it's a dynamic financial ecosystem, proving that the most vibrant economies often grow from the ground up. Conclusion: Marabastad may not have the marble floors of Wall Street, but it has something even more powerful: the spirit of self-determination. It is a place where every sale represents resilience, every trader is a CEO of their own enterprise, and every transaction strengthens the community. In the grand story of global economics, Marabastad's entrepreneurs are the unsung champions of inclusive prosperity, the true architects of wealth at the grassroots. At first glance, Marabastad might look like just another chaotic, dusty corner of Pretoria, a place where the paint is peeling, the taxis hoot non-stop, and the pavement vendors hustle under the blazing sun. But look again. Look with your third eye. Because Marabastad is not dust. It's gold. It is South Africa's Wall Street for the humble, a place where empires are born from crates, counters, and conversations, where dreams don't wear suits but overalls, where profit walks, not in boardrooms, but between stalls and spaza shops. The genesis of the Indian hustle Marabastad is sacred ground for the Indian community in South Africa. It is where the Indian hustle first took root, where early traders, barbers, tailors, and spice sellers planted the seeds of an economy that now stretches across the country. And yes, even Gandhi himself once lived here. Before he became a global icon of peace and resistance, Mahatma Gandhi walked these very streets. This was one of his earliest homes during his South African years, long before he marched to the sea in India. That's not just history. That's heritage. More than a market, Marabastad is not just a place. It's a mentality. It's the birthplace of the two-price strategy. It's where customer service is king and pricing is an art. It's where Indian traders didn't wait for opportunity. They created it, corner by corner. While others mocked the dust, they saw diamonds in the dirt. While the elite looked down, they looked around, and they built. This is where one banana became a business, one table became a family legacy, one act of warmth created lifelong customers. Marabastad is not over. It's a blueprint today. Many young Black South Africans avoid Marabastad, calling it backward, dirty, or beneath them. But the truth is, what Sandton is to those who inherited wealth, Marabastad is to those who are willing to earn it. It is the boot camp of street economics, the university of real hustle, the lab where theories become realities, and small traders become giants. So don't scoff at it. Study it, walk it, smell the spices, watch the eyes of the sellers. Feel the energy that pulses through each transaction, because in the dust of Marabastad lies the code to Black economic freedom. The forgotten power of the corner economy. While many wait for tenders, bursaries, or rescue from above, there is an entire economy happening at street level, in corners, on pavements, in alleyways, and in undesirable zones where real money is moving every day. This is the corner economy. And it has fed more families, launched more hustles, and built more first-generation wealth than most government programs ever have. You call it small. But it's massive selling fruit at the robots. That's retail, fixing phones from a table. That's tech repair, printing school projects from a garage. That's a service business. You call it side hustle. But it's actually the front line of economic survival, and when treated with seriousness, it becomes generational power. This is what Indian and immigrant communities understood early on. The corner is not failure. The corner is foundation. They sold socks, then school bags, then electronics. They served the working class with loyalty and pricing intelligence. They treated every transaction like it mattered. Because it did. Why Black youth must reclaim the upfront corner? Too many of us believe that if it's not inside a mall, or if it doesn't have a glass door and a card machine, it's not a real business. That thinking is a trap. It keeps us broke while we wait to look professional instead of learning to be profitable. It is in the corners of South Africa, Marabastad, the taxi ranks, the bus stops, the township spaza strip, where the real schooling begins. These are places to test your product, places to learn human psychology, places to build customer relationships, places to stack real, hard-earned money. Your empire has a corner. Name Apple started in a garage. ShopRite started in a small store in the Cape. Your business? It can start from a corner, but only if you drop the shame. Only if you stop waiting for a loan or perfect website. Only if you stop thinking the hustle has to be clean and cute. Because the truth is, the corner is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of the empire. And if you honor that beginning, you'll one day walk into your high-rise office and remember with pride, I started on the corner. And now I run the block.